Hi, I'm Stella, and I'm the creator of Alana the Web3 Girl. Join me for a 3-part series on how storytelling in Web3 matters. Let's create an avatar and their entire story from scratch. I will guide you through various programs like DAS, Marvelous Designer, Blender, and Substance Designer as we create a virtual personality together. All 3 sessions will be 90 minutes long, and of course they will be recorded. Part 1 of the series will be on Thursday, May 26th. Come ready to share your input. Together we will be creating a mood board and write up a background story for our avatar. Then we will go into DAS and start creating from a Genesis female base. We will incorporate add-ons to shape the body and look at different possibilities to add hair. Part 2 of the series will be streamed on Wednesday, June 1st. We will start with the mood board we assembled in Part 1 and add more images and a color concept to it. We will then go back into DAS where we created our avatar and we will animate a pose specifically for our avatar. Next we will export our avatar to Marvelous Designer where we will design the garment according to the mood board and apply some basic textures to it. Part 3 of this series will be streamed on Wednesday, June 15th. In this part, we will mostly focus on rendering and achieving the best final results. We will go into Substance Designer to create a custom texture and bake all of our textures in at least 4K in Marvelous Designer. We will then export our avatar to Blender, as well as the clothing, and set up a turntable with lighting, learn how to adjust settings, and output a turntable animation.
Official recorded all of these amazing episodes. Thank you so much. Stella, I love your hair.
Thank you. It's not really a fashion choice. It's really because it's hot. It's so hot.
Is it
I
really?
mean, your hair is so hot. You mean?
Oh, you got it, Pedro. You got it. My hair is hot. I'm hot. Of
Yep.
course, that's the thing. Sorry.
What?
Okay.
So before we start, yeah, are you okay with everything? Is everything like ready to go?
Yeah, we can start whenever. Maybe we're gonna wait 5 more minutes before we really start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not even the time.
Okay, cool. I think
And maybe a reminder. Should we send out a reminder?
I posted on the announcements.
Just now?
No, I will post I will post now on Arcadia. I'm posting.
okay.
So
Meanwhile, yeah, sorry. You
Oh,
go.
yeah.
You go.
I was just gonna add, so you were in Scotland and now you're in New York City and you'll be there throughout NFT NYC, and you were just at the tech festival. What was it called again?
Tech Adventures Festival.
That's right, Tech Adventures Festival.
It was
Wow. So tell us a little bit before we get started.
Yeah, it was really a cute festival in the middle of Glasgow in Queen's Park, and first time that festival happened, and it was really meant for a lot people who don't yet have any idea about whatever we're doing here, be it Web3 or be it digital fashion or be it virtual avatars. And I think if we would have had the luxury of better weather, there would have been even more people that came. But I think it was quite a good festival. It was also nicely planned, and there was like a whole lot of diversity in the program, and I just talked to a bunch of people, told them what we were up to here in the space, and that digital fashion is even a thing, and they were like, what do you mean digital fashion? Like, how is this even, why? It was like the most common question, like, why? And I'm like, well, for the same reason we do real fashion.
Wow.
And then I showed, from the people who exhibited in our metaverse experience in Chateau Arendelle Chateau. We walked them through the experience in Unreal Engine, and then we showed them the different fashion NFTs that, for example, Catherine, who was in the audience, but also other designers exhibited there, and the reaction was sometimes very, how do you say, just good to see, like people were so impressed. Sometimes they were like, this looks really cool, and you think like I could wear that as a digital avatar. I'm like, yeah, you can. And there was, I think some people, it was really like blowing their minds. Sometimes I think we get so lost in the idea that because we are concerning ourselves like every day with this, it's a thing, right? And it should be like something totally normal and well understood. And then you talk to in DeFi, in decentralized finance, we call those people normies, people who are like entirely Web2 based, and yeah, those normies don't know anything about this, and they're just like so impressed and think this stuff is so beautiful. And then hopefully I won them over for us.
I'm sure you did. No doubt. So I see a few more people have joined. We're just kind of hanging out, listening to what Stella's been up to this past week. She's been all over the globe in a way.
In a way.
Well, from Peru to Scotland, now to New York City. So in a week, that's pretty impressive.
That is a bit of flying around.
And we're gonna get started shortly. We're just waiting for a few people to join, but just like.
Sounds like a plan. I wanted to ask something before, but then I lost my my chain of thought. And I think I haven't really recovered it yet. I'm sorry.
You were just saying
that happens when you're part of the jet set crowd.
Yeah.
Just introducing people to digital fashion for the first time. You were talking about that.
Yeah, I was talking about that, but I wanted to say something different. But now I'm like, maybe I didn't. I don't remember. It's okay. I get confused a lot. It's okay. Today I don't have two screens, so this is my laptop that's with me. I don't have a second screen, so I might occasionally miss out on stuff that gets written in the Arcadia channel. Maybe Anna, could you keep an eye on it?
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. We will help you on that.
Oh, thank you, Pedro. That's great.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hi, Nick Reyes.
Good.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got home. I was outside selling some clothes actually, for my clothing brand. So I saw that you guys were hopping in you guys were doing the chat. So I thought I'd come in and say what's up. Chill for a bit.
Welcome. Nice. Were you in the part 1?
Say it again.
Have you seen the part 1 of this series, or are you jumping into part 2?
I haven't. This is actually my first time hopping into the chat with you guys.
Yeah, so Pedro, should we get started and we can kind of give a brief overview of what's happened and what will be happening?
Of course. Are we ready? I mean, are we recording this now?
I believe so, yes. Yes, I heard a yes upstairs.
Welcome, everyone, to tonight's conversation and tonight's Digital Alchemist series. It's time to co-create a place in which we can build our own dream world, an universe in which there's no place for mediocrity, a place in which consciousness and otherness grow, a dream world that may inspire us to think and develop impossible utopias. Let's remember, design, and build a timeless world in which we can find the eternal and essential, a dream cosmos to stay. These Digital Alchemist series are a monthly meetup with digital creators with a gift to reimagine and create a future by wasting nothing but data and exploring nothing but their imagination. Welcome again, Stella, for this incredible and amazing series on co-creating Alana's friends. Thank you for being here, and I would love to welcome Anatalia, who is co-hosting tonight's conversation. Hi, Anna.
Dro, hi Stella, hi everybody. So happy to be spending this time with all of you. So last time we did part one of this series where we started creating an avatar with story and all. And today is part two of the 3-part series. The third part will be in a couple of weeks on June 30th. And I'm just happy to have fun with all of you because this is an interactive session, like all of them have been and will be. So we want to hear from you because we're creating this avatar all together. So I'm happy to introduce Stella Achenbach, a fabulous designer and brains behind a bunch of projects, including Alana, the Web3 girl. She inspires me. I think she's going to inspire all of you. And we are ready to roll. Thank you and welcome, Stella.
Thank you guys for the warm welcome. This was really nice, Anna. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna start sharing my screen so you guys can give like a little bit of a, I guess, a debrief. What we did. So this board, I think Pedro also already shared it in the chat. But so all of you can take a look around this board. It's not a private board. The only thing that I didn't allow is editing. But otherwise, you can go into all the folders. That should be possible and take a look around. So what we did last time was we started putting together. Let me actually zoom out. This is the full board. I hope you guys can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But it's hard to read.
Yeah, no, I will zoom in again. I'm sorry, just wanted to give a brief overview while it's zoomed out. So we put together this mood board. I added a little bit more images to it, but something that we also together came up with is the entire story of this avatar. So this avatar is supposed to be, first of all, a colleague, but then maybe also a friend of Alana, the Web3 girl. Her name is Candid.x11, and she has an alternate personality that comes out at night, which is called shef1.eth. And yeah, you're welcome to read up on the whole story, backstory, the visual features, the quirks and the flaws. Obviously, I streamlined it a little bit to make it, fit more like also the Alana Web3 girl narrative. But I think I integrated literally all the ideas you had. So I hope you're you're happy you're happy with that. Also, I remember us talking last time about present, future. Does it matter when she is born? So I invented kind of a time system that is native to Alana's planet, which is called Alta Agri. And so the year that is essentially Candid X11 was born in is called the 26th cycle of Sipe, 2334. So it's its own time scale, time universe, or whatever. Yeah, I also included the 2 recordings because I did a second recording of the part of the process that I couldn't do with you guys last time. So if you want to follow up on this, you can do that anytime. And that said, let's jump into the files. Any questions so far? Are we good?
Well, I'm just wondering for those who weren't here. Well, one thing is the part 1 is on YouTube, so you can watch it there. But do you want to kind of give like a brief summary of who she is before we start making her close?
Okay, yeah, I can obviously do that. I just wanted to give you guys the chance to quickly read through this if you wanted to. But so by day, Candid X11 is a coder and cyber detective abiding by the laws of Alta Agri X13 to track down and expose rug pullers and scammers of Web3. She works for Alana in the cybersecurity team of Alta Agri and gets paid in blockchain candy. By night, Candid X11 transforms into a vigilante who calls herself she-of1.eth. She is an excellent cyber tracker and analyst, always successfully hunting down the enemies of Web3 and transforming them from mercenaries into missionaries. So that's kind of the, character by day and by night. That's kind of the change that happens. It should be more extreme, I think, but didn't really want to turn her into a killer or something. So I have to think about this part a little bit more. Her characteristics are that she is inquisitive and engaging. She's also observant and tends to become very philosophical. I think what matters today a lot is actually the visual features and style. So I'm gonna go through this one. Maybe if I make this bigger, you guys can see it also better. So from the pictures we put together, I figured it would be somehow robotic, virtual punk rock stylish. I also made her very pale skinned, almost like opal or pearlescent glimmering skin. So right now, I will show you guys in DAS. I only put her skin to like very, very light. But I intend to mix her skin up in Blender. That's something we're going to do in session 3, where we do the whole rendering and whole compositing in Blender. And I'm going to mix it up with an opal texture that I made in Substance Designer. And and then, she will be glimmering, not just have pale skin. But right now she only has the pale skin. Her clothes are directly attached to her central memory unit, and sometimes there are glitches. Thoughts that she doesn't want to have suddenly appear on them. Sometimes funny, but also potentially dangerous, especially for, someone who's in cybersecurity. There was this idea to maybe display even a wallet address. It could be funny, so we could think about that. Her clothes can also directly and fully organically interact with other pieces of technology. So this could be a VFX effect that we, implement in the composition in Blender. Gotta think about this. She usually wears a cyber analyst glasses, which allow direct VR access to all the different realms of the Web3 universe. Her style doesn't change too much, in my opinion, from being Candid to she-of1.eth. But as a vigilante, she wears a protective armor and holographic safety covers. So I think it's kind of like maybe like a Gundam suit or something, or Gundam suit elements. I had something like this in mind. I don't know if you guys have any opposing or added additional ideas to this. But
the Gundam suit. I've got a better plan.
You have a better plan than the Gundam suit elements?
Oh, much better.
Oh, okay. Well, what's up?
You've seen soft muscles, right? The artificial muscles. You could give her a striated, like muscle. So she sees basically it's external muscles that see all the muscle suits. Not made bodybuilders, obviously. It's not going to work for her. But basically, what it does is it's. I'm trying to think.
Something like this. Let's please not do that.
No. I'm trying to think of where I've seen something similar. Put in prototype nano armor.
Okay.
And of course, Iron Man was most of it. But yeah, no, that's much there, right there. That's much better. Something like that, only very feminine, and do it more along the lines of a cavalier. So you actually give her feather, the swashbuckling style, feathers coming out, wide brim hat, but of course all high tech. So she looks like a cyber swashbuckling Three Musketeers style.
Okay. I'm gonna
Tell
put
me that
this.
doesn't sound cool as hell.
I mean, it could be potentially pretty cool. I agree. Okay.
I don't have the artistic talent to put that together, but you do. I finally have somebody that I can go, hey, here's all these cool ideas I have. Sorry, I'm back now.
Okay. So we're gonna add this. This could be a cool thing. But yeah, we're gonna focus on her daylight version. So that would be for after the fact, essentially. Okay, for those of you who weren't there last time, the application I'm using here, it's called Milanode. And I put it also in the board for you, I think. Oh, I didn't actually. Okay, let me add this. Okay. Milanode. Okay, cool. So this is her for now. As promised and according to our mood board, I made her muscular, but not, not bodybuilder style. Just pretty muscular. I think she's pretty muscular. If you guys think we should do more, and we can definitely do more, but I think this is pretty pretty packed already. Also added these kind of like very boring line tattoos, just honestly as a reference, because if you export from DAS to as an FBX, for example, you get like all of these textures separated. So this means I can take those textures, put them in Photoshop, and put something else in place of them. And I thought that could be maybe interesting to do that. So yeah, I mean, we don't have to if we don't want to, but I thought that could be an interesting reference to have. So I put that in. Also, let me actually turn this. My computer will probably die, but let's turn this on for a second in iRay shading mode. Do you guys want me to give you a brief user interface introduction to DAS Studio? I have this also in the video, but I could do a little bit of a repetition right now. What do you guys think?
Yes, please.
Yeah? Okay. So yeah, as you can see, she's pretty pale right now. I also did actually put in very, very different eyes that we can still take and retexture. So same thing applies for the eyes, then for everything else. We can take this exported texture, put it into Photoshop, and just make it better. Or we leave it that way, doesn't matter. But I thought this was a good base to work with. Okay. Let me. Oh, sorry. Also, my mouse got trashed in on the plane. So now whenever I zoom in, it wants to zoom out like 1 second afterwards. It's really weird. Okay, so quick introduction. On the left side, this is probably the most important panel. You have all the, oh wait, maybe I should start with this. So I actually run DAS through DAS Central, and I recommend you guys download this one first because it just makes your life a little bit easier. And I don't know why he's doing that because it's already installed, but whatever. Das Central is essentially like the installation hub. So you can have everything in here, and it's a pretty good overview. You don't need to log into the website or anything like that. All the assets that I ever got are in here. All the plugins I ever got are here, and all the additional resources in this case, and it's honestly just the software and I think tutorials are on this site. You also have the direct install feature for the Blender bridge and for the Unreal bridge, because that's a thing. You can actually bridge export directly to Blender and directly to Unreal Engine. And yeah, so I really recommend you guys install DAS Central, and then you install DAS from within here. This is definitely a better solution. Just wanted to put that out there. So that means I rarely use the install feature from here. I actually use it from here. But so I go to my assets and I would say, for example, install this asset, right? Or install this asset. But you can obviously still do it from here. So the way to do it is just to go, to, let's just say materials and, or let's say hair. Hair is always good. Everyone wants always hair because hair is ridiculously hard to make. You can make it, but it's not fun. And then you just go right click on, the asset that you own and say install. And then it takes, a bunch of time to install, honestly. So this is why I'm going to cancel this operation. But this is the way to go. Smart content is content that gets recognized. So meaning we used as a base a Genesis 8 female avatar, which is a basic avatar in DAS. And if you go here, it will recognize the content that is specifically available for Genesis 8 avatars. And that is installed. It needs to be installed, otherwise it doesn't get recognized by the software. Then you have the content library that's deeper down. Yeah, it's cool. You can also make your own folder here and start embedding your own templates in here. Honestly, the draw settings, I have never used this, so I cannot tell you too much about it. You can render from within DAS, and it has an array rendering engine, so it looks pretty good. I don't do it. I think Blender is still the better tool, but you could do it. There are great tutorials out there. If you type in DAS Studio rendering, you will find great YouTube tutorials to do just that. And then simulation settings is the same thing. I don't use it here. I do it all in Blender, and that's also what I'm going to show you guys on how to do it. That said, down here you have the timeline, so you can use it to animate, for example, from one pose to another pose. This is how I mostly use it. So you would, save this as a base pose, and then let's say you move to 30 and you put this avatar into another pose. You can either hand pose the avatar, or you can use a pre-made pose. So for example, here is like already a bunch of different poses available. So let's just say this is one we want to use. So we could use this one. I've actually used this specific one before for Alana.
And so, what is the general use that you guys mainly use DAZ 3D for, aside from Blender? Because I know, like how you mentioned, you can render and you could do similar things on them. What do you mainly specifically go to DAZ to use in your workflow?
I really use it to create that base avatar, and then I get out of here. I do the dressing in Marvelous Designer. I usually do skin optimizations and detailed work on the avatar. I do it in a software by Reallusion, but it is quite pricey, and I only recommend it if you're like very much into just pure avatar creation.
Is there a reason she doesn't have long hair?
Yeah, there's two reasons. Long hair gets very tricky with everything simulation. That's one part.
Okay.
But also, I figured from all the stuff that we put together in the mood board, it just fitted more
Oh,
the
well, I was
the
thinking
vibe, you know, like
there's this
Trinity style and
there's this stuff called cyber hair. Essentially, hair itself is carbon fiber and it's designed to be a weapon. I just was curious. It's pencil hair. The hair itself actually
wait, what did you say?
would be
Blood?
cool. It's called cyber hair, and essentially the hair itself fiber it is an appendage and it joins in the attack.
Oh, you mean these kind of styles?
No, it's regular long hair, it's normal hair, but the hair itself hair because once you're dealing with things on a nano scale, you're even something the size of a human hair can be given that capability. It's not important. Go ahead. It's something I would do if I were playing with it. But you say it has problems rendering. It's not an
No,
issue.
no, it doesn't
It
have
would just be
problems.
something fun to play with.
It doesn't have problems rendering, not at all. It doesn't matter if you use long or short hair for rendering. Just
Because
can
my
take
thing
longer.
is, well, no, we don't have the time. It's not we need to deal with. My thought was it would be something fun in her alter ego to have the hair actually wielding a short dagger, pulling out a pistol for her, whatever. It would be something I thought would be fun because it's certainly something only doable in cyber at this point. And so I thought it would be something fun to illustrate the where tech is going, where the difference. It would be something that would not be normal, that breaks that what you expect to see barrier. Um, I researched it for one of the novels. Sorry, it comes out. Um, I
You're totally
one of the
fine. I just added it to the
one of the
mood
guys
board.
had a beard like mine, and his beard would have a small dagger hidden in it. When they got up close, it would slice the guy's throat.
Oh my god, that's super dangerous. Okay.
Yeah, it's great. Not exactly what you were expecting when you get in hand to hand with somebody for his beard to attack you, but yeah, that's something that bleeding edge tech you could do.
Yeah, no, why not?
Anyway, I'll shut up and leave you alone.
It consists of, what did you say? Of fiber optics, right?
Well,
Essentially.
carbon fiber. It would be a nanotech advance that would be carbon fiber, so that it's not something you can just easily cut, break, or whatever. This would be stronger than steel, lighter than steel. It would probably not weigh much more than regular hair, but brutal. But again, not. And I mean, it would be something that you could do in the real world in a very high tech environment, extremely high tech environment, or it would be something you could do in a game, cyber world easily. But again, I'll stay out of it. I just thought it might be something fun to play with. If
Why?
it's too much,
I like the idea. It's already added to the mood board.
okay.
It's a cool idea. I like it. So if no one is opposing, yeah, this will become a thing for her alter ego. Okay, wait. Where were I? Yeah, so you can you can do two things. Like I just used an existing pose, so you can buy poses if you keep doing this often. But to be fairly honest with you guys, most of the time I just want to have a very specific pose, so I start using the. Now I need to check which one is it. Oh, it's actually this one. um, I usually pose the avatar just by myself. And actually, it's not this one. I'm using, what the hell? And this is then, oh, wait. I did something. Oh, so this is something that happens sometimes, and it's not very fun. Yeah, so I kind of did. I don't know if you guys see this. I will go to this panel next. There's a tiny check mark next to this like mouse arrow, and if this is xed out, it means I cannot like really touch touch the avatar, essentially. And sometimes this becomes very tricky. But yeah, we figured it out. It's all good. So I would go to the universal tool again, because the universal tool allows me multiple things at once. So I can just, do weird stuff with it, obviously, which we're not going to do. But I can also take it and really take my time to pose the avatar. So you can go on these different joints and essentially start. You can do a few things. So you can use this this middle button, let's just say, or this like sphere, and you can pose with feeling. I am not good with that, so I usually go with I'm trying to put this closer so you guys can see this. I'm usually gonna go with these things. So I know the upper or the most outer circle, it allows me the rotation, right? I'm setting this back. Then the next one, it allows me to move forward or backward. And then there's the last one that doesn't really have anything here because I have still turned on limits. So if you want to do really weird poses, you actually need to make sure that you select your avatar, and you have to go, and now I have to figure out if I can remember this. Yeah, I can. You have to go to figure, and you have to go to limits and limits off, right? Otherwise, you will hit a limit and you will not be able to pose any further. So let's just say I want to make this here. I want to make this even crazier than here. I want to pull this really, really close to her arm. Then, I would need to turn off the limits to be able to do that. Okay? So that's something important to remember, I guess. But that said, I am going to go to the other side here. So here is like the actual viewport you're seeing, and also the current camera settings that, like I said, I don't necessarily care for, but maybe you do. Then you have the actual scene outline. So they integrated those two components. They're new. They don't need to disturb you. You can obviously take them and manipulate them like you can everything else. I don't usually do anything with them. I could even delete them. So I usually have my avatar selected. Because I don't do the environment here, well, I don't have anything in here either. And this is probably the most interesting one, and that's the one I used a lot when I was actually doing the avatar according to our mood board. So there is the actual parameters. This is like literally the global translation of the avatar. So let's just say you want her to fly, for example. Fly is a good idea, right? Then, you would need to use the parameter because that's not a part of the pose. This translates to the world origin, right? So that's different. So we'd need to use those values to be able to do that. Also, if it comes to animation, obviously. The second one that I used obviously a lot because the shape of the body shape has changed quite a bit is all of these. And specifically in the video, I will also tell you guys, like I didn't use any of the pre-made settings because I wanted to show you how to use this specific add-on that allows for all of these little details to change. And you will see that in the time lapse in the video. Yeah, I used a ton of those settings. So it takes a long time, but I always think it's worth it to go through all of them and, check out really what they do. And you can really adapt every single detail, like even, like how much stomach is showing here, for example. These are all little detailed settings. You can adjust everything, like how round or how low her butt cheeks are placed. That there is like a little bit more muscular structure to the inner thigh or to the inner side of the knee. Like all of these things, you can adjust everything in here. And I think I mentioned this before, but just in case I didn't, the add-on I used, it's called something with shape something. I will put it for you guys on the board, but it's essentially a one buy and you're good for your lifetime if you want to do all of those adjustments. If you don't, you obviously don't have to. But this is a really great tool. Then you have something that's I mean, it's not super new, but it is not old either. It is essentially a face transfer tool within DAS. So you can take your own picture if it's well lit and photographed, and you can take it and essentially, yeah, kind of morph your own face onto an avatar. So if this is something that interests you, I suggest you look at some tutorials for this. Posing, again, translation and rotation, right? And then last one is surface. So we could potentially change colors of things in here. I rarely do that. If you want to, for example, let's just say we wanted to, adjust the color of her breasts or something. You could essentially go in here, Genesis 8 female. You could navigate the actual under surfaces, obviously. You could go into arms, cornea, ears, face, fingers, torso. Yeah, you would have to go to torso, and you can see this is the actual texture, and it will tell you where it's located. I cannot show you and do this at the same time, but it says it's located at users, Aachen, OneDrive, and so on and so forth, right? So you could actually open the texture from within here, or even inload a new one, right? So I could manipulate this one now in Photoshop and load the new one in here already. That could be an option as well. Okay, any questions about the user interface, or are we good with that? Right, I'm going to try and figure out if you guys are still here.
Someone is asking if DAS 3D is free, just like Blender.
Yeah, so
I mean, for free.
Yeah, so the base software is free, but and also the Genesis 8, it's free. But there are two major differences. First of all is if you want to do customization and you don't want to per se model it, right? But you want to use the tools within DAS, this is when you need to buy an add-on or an additional plugin. So that's not for free. And then the most important part is that whatever you create in here, you cannot make it an open source item. It is not allowed by law. So let's say you would want to open source, or I would want to open source Alana. This is something I would never allow to do. Like I can do it and, just bet on the fact that I wouldn't be found out, but it is not, they don't give you the right to do that. So those are two things you should be very aware of. Does that make sense? I'm trying to find if... Oh, you guys put some cool stuff in here. Okay. Blah, nice. Where do we put questions? Good question. Vanessa is asking, where do we put questions? Here, I guess, no? In this chat.
Yes, yeah, let's do that.
But Vanessa, you can also feel free to... you can also feel free to just open your mic and say something. Like, this is one of those sessions where you can just,
Yeah, you noticed how shy I've been.
Everyone has been noticing that. No, just kidding. Okay, I'm putting in this one as well. This is really cool. Thank you, Vlad. Okay. If there are no more questions, I'm just gonna skip ahead. Okay. Oh, nice. That's very cool. Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Okay, putting that in as well. I can tell you guys are liking this. This is almost getting to the point of an exosuit, I feel. But yeah, why not? Why not? Okay. Anything else? No, nothing. Okay, cool. Okay. So the question I get asked, I guess most of the time is like, how do I export this? And then people get scared. So just select the avatar. That's the one part that's super important. And we're not animating yet her pose, okay? Just saying, because today is all about clothing. We're just gonna try and focus on that. Then you go to File, Export. important, this is selected, okay? And well, then we can just use this one and say, yes, overwrite this, please. And so this seems a little bit overwhelming, but it is in fact not. So one part that is just, it's an unwritten rule, really. You can try all the other settings if you want to, but I'm always good with FBX 2012 binary. If you are not, it might be your computer, it might be your system, it might be the software you're trying to use. Just try another setting, but no reason to freak out yet, you know. So just take this one. Selected is not necessary because we only have one figure and that is already selected. So, you know, it will recognize that this is a Genesis 8 female and it will select the full figure for us and everything that was underneath. The difference to selected, and I want to show you this because it could matter depending on if you have other items in here. So if I press selected, you will see a change down here. Right now, everything is being exported. The hair, the 8 female, the 8 female eyelashes, the lashes utilities I applied, the armbands, okay? Like everything is, actually this one is not selected. Okay, let us have a look at this. It's actually good that I mentioned it. So, yeah, can I get this down, please? No, okay, it doesn't allow me today. I don't know. It's being moody. Okay, so this is the arm tattoos, and as you guys can see, they were not being selected. That's okay. Now they should be. And also, if you want to make sure that really everything in your scene is selected concerning the Genesis 8 female, you go right click, you say select, and say select all. And then you're really sure everything gets selected. So you can say file, export again, right? We're going to overwrite this file. So now we can say selected, and now everything should be, well, this is still not a thing because it's a prop. Now it gets selected. I'm not selecting the lights nor the cameras. We don't have an animation yet. We are not exporting this anywhere to Maya. If you do, you might need this. We are anyway only having the base figure, so no need to change anything with this. Locks and limits I told you about. We didn't use any of these, right? Because we didn't pose yet and we also didn't turn off the limits. The morphs are the changes in the figure, so this is selected. All the, you know, the little orange and blue and stuff sliders, that's the morphs. Embed textures, we do that. Collect textures to folder. I showed you this is a thing because then you can freely manipulate later on. I'm not doing this, diffuse and opacity. I'm going to keep it separate because also in Blender it's a separate thing. But there is there are third-party softwares where opacity and diffuse get merged into one texture map. So for those softwares, if you're using one of them, obviously you would check mark this. We don't have clothing, so not selecting. Convert clothing to static geometry, not doing that either. Allow degraded skinning and allow degraded scaling. I have not entirely figured out what this is, to be fairly honest with you guys, but everything works if those two are selected. So that's the logic behind it. Sub-D information, I'm not subdividing anything yet, so I just leave it as, you know, low level as it is. Collapse UV tiles, also not doing that, just leaving it as it is for right now, and then go to accept. This is how you export it for Marvelous Designer or for Clo. You could even export it, and that would be more simple as an OBJ, but then you don't get necessarily the textures with it. And I'm eager for the textures as per usual. So yeah, this is the one export. The other export we will go through next time when we also have the pose is the bridge support, and I will explain that to you in all its detail because it needs a little bit of time to explain. But I think logically speaking, it makes more sense to show that next time when we're actually exporting to Blender. So I'm going to close this down now, and I already have the file. Or wait, I'm gonna show you how I import those avatars, because there is just one little thing that I should probably explain as well.
And Stella, I don't know if it's too late. I saw a question about how to show hair, I guess. But yeah, go there. Vanessa's having trouble with her mic, and she wanted to know how to change the hair color.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So I know I'm annoying with this, but my recommendation is always do it in Blender. But you can obviously do it in here. So the hair gets, let me actually delete the hair, not the head. Let me delete the hair so I can show you guys. Da, 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 da. Oh, I hope it's right. Okay, so deleted the hair. So again, very important to select your avatar and go to hair. And in my case, you know, I got like a few hairstyles that I really liked, because like I said, you can make hair, right? It's not that big of a deal. But I think making really good hair can take you up to a week of work. And if you already, you know, if you're not very obsessed with a very specific hairstyle, you could really just use an already existing asset, I feel. But obviously not a must, just a recommendation. So I double click that. It gets automatically fitted to the avatar, and it gets parented. This is why it's under the Genesis 8 female. See, it got parented under there. So now her hair is very much pink, and I didn't like the pink idea. So let's go here. So instead, I selected the hair and I went to materials again under smart content. And usually it comes with a bunch of different hairstyles or hair colors. And I really liked, in our case, the silver version. So that's the one I got for her. This is how I changed it here. If you want to do it custom, you can go, you select the hair and you go to surface, and there it should show the hairstyle. And then it's a good question, because that depends always on the asset itself. So you can play with obviously all the different things in here, but this one looks good. See, so this is the texture this is actually using, and you can find here where it is, right? You could directly, actually there is a Photoshop bridge, I believe, for Dust Studio that you could install and use, and you could essentially change the color in there. If I would need to do this, I would probably actually figure out if this is a thing. I wonder if it opens the actual folder. And yeah, it does. So we could go in here, and to me it seems like this is the right style here. Yeah. FE Punk Hair Volume 2 Translucency, right? That one seems like it's the right style. So you could go here, you could, you know, copy this, edit this, edit with, we do this right now. Open with, choose another app. And let's try and see if we can go to Photoshop. That would be super neat, wouldn't it? I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have the bridge connected, but essentially you could also go and copy just this path. That's probably so much easier. I'm sorry if I'm not coming up with this from the beginning. Just copy it in your Explorer, and there are all your files, and then we could, yeah, that's actually so much better. So you could copy this, copy. Oh wow, it's not liking it too much. Oh, maybe also I should. Yeah, that could help. Okay, so we could copy this, right? Put it in our specific Fabricant folder. Let's say we put this here, and we open Photoshop. By the way, everything we're not getting to today, I will make sure I record it again. So don't worry if this is taking longer than anticipated.
I think that was a great question from Vanessa. Thank you.
Sorry.
Wait, what? No.
Yeah.
This is why we're here. If you have these kind of questions, this is what I'm.
I didn't mean about the question. I meant about taking longer because I know I'm throwing extra things.
No, it's really okay. I really like when you throw in like random stuff. You know that. You just wanted to hear it again. Just admit it.
Yeah, and I also liked how he introduced himself. You know, I'd love for all of you to, you know, take that into consideration. You're welcome and invited to unmute your mic and ask a question and introduce yourself. We want to get you.
Oh, sorry. Oh, this is not surprising. I'm so sorry. But yeah, we could do something like this, you know, and then maybe do an overlay or maybe color burn, for example. Seems like a cool idea, right? So let's just say this is our hairstyle now. Super weird, I know. Just stick with me. And we're just gonna save this under our file again. I would say, hey, this is like peach punk, right? Hair. Doesn't even matter. And we do this. And then we also export this again as a PNG. I really hope this helps. If it doesn't, you can always, you know, say something in the chat, I hope. And I hope Anna is seeing it or Pedro is seeing it. So yeah, we can go back in here and we can browse for that specific hair texture that we just made in our folder, in our avatar folder, and, you know, essentially replace it. But this is only the translucency color. So we would have to do that for the glossy weight. We would have to do that essentially for every texture that's in here, for the transmitted color, for to make it really work, I think. So this is also something to be slightly aware of, because otherwise you will not really see much of a result, I would assume. But we can see if it shows. I don't think it will show, but maybe it does. Oh, it's loading. It's having a hard time. I apologize. Yeah, you guys can see this, right? Wait, I'm getting way too close right now. So her roots are like in this like pinkish peachy color now. And we know we could always go in now and be like, hey, this is actually not as much showing as we would like it to show. And you can always go back in here and obviously adjust those things, right? Actually, why not do this? What do you guys think? We're going to keep it this way or we're going to keep it pure silver?
I like the pink.
Yeah, me too, actually.
What do you guys think?
Hey everyone, here's Paola. I just wanted to say hi.
Hi, Paola.
Hi Stella, how are you?
I'm good. What do you think? More or less?
I mean, that looks good. Yeah, it's an in-between thing.
Right? Let's go with an in-between thing. We like in-between things. Okay, so we still gotta update it here. So I have to go back in here. Gotta, and here you can also differentiate between the scalp and the top if you wouldn't want to or need to. That's also something. But yeah, essentially it always goes through the texture. You can change color also in here, but if you do that, it usually doesn't get translated to another software. So this is why I recommend just changing the texture, because then you have it set in stone. And yeah, that's, it's more of a thing. Okay, let's just have a look. One more check. Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Why not? Now she has this like pinkish base. I think that's quite cool. Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. You threaded in yet another idea. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Marvelous Designer now. Is there, checking one more time. Oh, very nice. Okay, I think we're good. So I'm using right now, I have to think. I think Marvelous Designer 11, but I'm never sure. I use Marvelous Designer. Maybe I should quickly tell you guys why I'm using Marvelous Designer. So the difference between Marvelous and Clo is that Clo was really made for digital fashion, right? And potentially fashion that you would also have produced in real life. Whilst Marvelous Designer, even though the softwares come from the same company and they both cost money, so there's no difference. It is that that with Marvelous you get a bunch of settings that are very much related to preparing clothing for gaming purpose. So if you're like me and you're very interested into gaming and very interested in developing for metaverses, then I definitely would recommend you to get Marvelous Designer instead of Clo, because you get features in here that you cannot have in Clo. But that actually goes vice versa. So for example, something you cannot do in Marvelous Designer is you cannot render. I mean, rendering is anyway not really great even in Clo, but you cannot render, and you cannot, for example, put on like hair or feathers, right? All of this, it's not a thing. So yeah, you really need to think like, where do you want to, where does your end result go? Does your end result go, for example, in a metaverse experience, or does your end result go into a glossy fashion magazine, or is it meant to work as a stand-in for like a real production piece? And then obviously I would recommend you guys to get Clo. I hope that was a good explanation why and where are the differences.
Hi, so just on that topic, so my name's Gail. I'm working in Browseware, which is very similar to Clo. So I've been very fascinated with how I would transform my 3D digital designs into this kind of product, which would then obviously be for the Fabricant projects. So yeah, I'm like watching this and just thinking, trying to piece how I'm going to connect these dots. So this is amazing, really.
That's great. Okay. I actually, on that note, I would like to add something else. And is Paola still here? Yeah, Paola. Is it okay if I take one of your garments and show the guys what we did for making it work in Arendelle Chateau?
Sure, of course.
Yeah, okay. I know this is getting a little bit sidetracked, but I think this might be very valuable information for you guys. So I just plugged in my hard drive. Sorry for that. Okay, so continue. What's scanning? So for the metaverse experience that we built around Alana, which is called Arendelle Chateau, we asked several designers if they wanted to exhibit in the chateau in Alana's walk-in closet. And so we got a bunch of really cool stuff, and obviously very happy about it. But we also got assets that had a lot of triangles. And I'm not sure if you guys know that, but metaverses usually don't allow a lot of geometry being placed in them because it would slow down the whole game experience, it just to a point where it wouldn't be playable anymore. So even though we used Unreal Engine, there was still an issue. And I wanted to just quickly show you guys how we kind of medium solve the issue and how you can do it specifically in Marvelous Designer, because, well, that might be, I know the Fabricant is all about digital, so this might be very interesting for you guys. Okay, I'm just gonna take maybe the cry top. Okay, let's take the cry top. It's like easier to load. So Paola sent me this garment, and she modeled it in a way that it's like high resolution, because obviously that would look nicer in renderings. But then you get quite the problem on the other side of this, and I want to show you guys how this is semi-fixed, at least semi-fixed. Everything loading. I feel like my computer will give up eventually on this. Just saying. Yeah, let's close everything I don't need.
I also couldn't believe at the beginning that you were going to reduce it that much, but at the end, it's like almost no triangles.
Yeah, it's really less. I mean, this one is already pretty much less, but it's still a good amount. So what we did.
Oh, also on that note, the print is missing on the top. We didn't notice that one.
Oh, I thought that was by choice. That's good.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so we should fix that eventually. Okay, never mind. We're gonna fix it. Okay. So this is the full garment, and if we look at it in mesh view, this is already the retopologized version. I want to show you how it usually comes in, because usually everything is triangled in Clo and in Marvelous Designer. So usually this is your mesh. You should recognize these kind of triangulated meshes. And it is pretty high poly, especially if you go and look, at all of those triangles. And you might think, hey, it's not much, but then the problem is that a full scene can only take about, depending on the metaverse experience, the full scene that is on display can take between 90,000 and a hard max of 180,000 triangles. So in that consideration, if this is already, let's say, 30,000 triangles, that's going to be a huge problem for any kind of metaverse experience, right? And so depending on the availability, it would already clock a third of the programming. A third would be gone, a third of capacity, just by one piece of clothing. Okay, that said, in Marvelous Designer, you have the luxury and you can just click the remesh button. It takes a bit to load, but eventually it gives you a very clean quadrangulated mesh, right? This looks very, very clean. Like, it has some issues here and there, but like all the rest of it looks pretty good. So what you can do then, if you have that, and don't worry, you can kind of fake that in Clo by going into, wait, I'm gonna undo this so I can show you guys. So Clo has an alternate version of this. It's not working as nice, but you can do it. You go to Edit, Context Menu, 3D Garment, and you would say Quadrangulate. Like I said, not the same thing. You will see it has like kind of a spider mesh composition going on here. So it's not great topology, but it's still better than using the triangles, especially if you're going to go and put it in Blender, because Blender doesn't like triangles. Unreal Engine, Maya, different story, right? They are good with triangles, but Blender doesn't like them too much. So that said, I'm going to undo this and I'm going to do the remesh option here because it works so much better. And what you would do next is you go into, and that's something you can also do perfectly fine in Clo. You're going to go to, wait, what? Oh, yeah. You're going to go to your UV editor and, put this like I already put it here. That's, nice and sorted. And you would go to bake texture. You put this up to a 4K texture, 4096. You go save that out and you pinch all the necessary maps that you need. In our case, it's everything, but we don't need displacement because displacement will not actually show up in a metaverse experience, just saying. You could use it for rendering something nice in Blender, but you don't need it for the metaverse stuff. And you would say save, it saves out, right? And you get these like high baked texture maps that are, baked on the high poly mesh. So then you go back to your 3D window, to the pattern window here, select everything, and then it gets crazy. Then you would say, I'm gonna push this up to 60. And then you get this really crazy mesh, right? That's just a few squares anymore and a few triangles. And this is the mesh.
And that's for file size for gaming.
Yeah, that's for file size for gaming. So if you don't simulate it anymore, right? I'm not simulating this anymore. This is like the only rule you have to follow. If you simulate now, like all of this is for nothing. But if you don't simulate it anymore and you just export it this way, for example, into Blender, and then you put the high resolution textures on top, I promise it will look like the high poly thing. Or I don't have to promise, actually. I've already done it and Paola has witnessed it. So because she sent me the garment and she was like, what? Less than 10,000 triangles? You are crazy. And then I think I brought it down to 4,000 triangles from, what was the original count?
No idea, but it was way, way, way too much.
Yeah, it was really a lot. So this is a good bridge. I hope you can, find a way to work with this if you ever run into this situation that you, for example, maybe you have a Decentraland plot and you want to bring this in. This is where you could do it. This is where you could use it. High baked textures on a low poly mesh and you will be fine. Make sense?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Cool. Okay, I've got to close the side session now. So sorry. Totally got sidetracked here. But I think that was important. Okay, I'm going to go back, open this, and we're going to show how to import the avatar. And then I'm going to quickly run you guys through how I want to start putting together the garment, because I had an idea and I thought you might like it because it could be potentially co-creational. Is it loading? I never know if it's loading. It's crazy. Let me check in between if there are any other questions. No questions so far, right? I'm not missing anything, I think. Okay, cool. Okay, so we got this open now. File, import, FBX. And then another marvelous file opened just by itself. What the hell? Okay. Okay, selecting this one, obviously, this is already memorized settings, but usually I think animation and cage animation are checked in my case, so I unchecked those because we don't have them yet. I said yes to automatically add arrangement points. It doesn't always transfer, but sometimes it does, you never know. And as for the scale, it's centimeters, right? It's centimeters from DALS to Marvelous Designer. For Marvelous Designer, so if we export the garment then later on over to Blender, it's going to be meters. So the scales are quite a moving part. Okay, let's cross our fingers that I didn't tell you any bullshit here, but it should load. Yeah, so here she is. I usually put the avatar just on, but anyway, it comes in very just like, not very pretty, because it really doesn't matter to us here. But I had reason to put it in as an FBX, and that is in case we want to change any, posing or anything. And now I'm very weirded out by whatever is happening here. Give me a second. Ooh, man. Okay, so this is interesting. I can tell you what happened. This is funny and interesting at the same time. Okay, so I don't know if you guys remember, but when we exported, remember how I said to the armband, yes and yes? So maybe we shouldn't do that. Because now the armband, which is essentially a texture, but because it's a separate texture from the actual torso, it seems like it exported like 2 arms, which is obviously not what we want or need. I mean, the good thing is that we don't really. I wonder if this is also applying to other pieces. Let me quickly check. Oh yeah, it completely exported twice. That is very interesting. I have no idea why.
That could be a happy accident for her alter ego.
Yeah, I'm not
to
sure.
build that in as part of her suit.
I think I leave these kind of creations to Catherine Divorce.
Is there a way you can save this version?
What do you mean? You like this version? Do you want me to keep it?
Well, I mean, not. I was just wondering. I was saying, and I think it's interesting, and I've never seen that before. So I was just wondering if.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, the problem is this is not a good file, right? That's the problem. If that would be intentional and we had two bone structures, we could keep it, right? But like this, we don't actually have power over the whole other mesh. So that's rather problematic, because you can see how this has a bone structure, but this mesh doesn't. So that's rather problematic. So I have to figure out what's going on here. But yeah, well, that's still fun. I agree. I'm not against this.
I'm just thinking, it wouldn't go with my swashbuckling musketeer theme, but be cool for a Shiva theme.
No, we gotta leave this for another time. But yeah, I have to kind of figure out what went wrong here. I'm also kind of wondering if I actually did select the right file, because I might have just by mistake selected the wrong file. Just try this again. That's a fun one. Okay, it's actually maybe it's not the right file, because the right file should be on desktop. Oh, okay.
Anyone from India can tell me, was it Shiva or Kali? I'm on the right track here somewhere?
I think it's Shiva, no?
I thought so, but I can't. As soon as I said it, I felt like an idiot because I wasn't 100% sure. And as soon as I say it, I'll pick the wrong one.
Yeah, it's Shiva.
Okay, thank you.
Multi-armed deity.
Wait, is this deep
Like
thought?
I said, as soon as I say something.
Yeah. I thought I'd come and support you guys. I saw the call was on.
Yippee!
Thought I'd slide in.
Welcome. Yeah, I just fucked everything up, so.
It looked like a creative endeavor there.
I wish I could now sell it like that, but it's literally a mistake. So I don't want to lie about this. Okay, let's just check this file to see if this
You
is...
just Bob Rossed it. Happy accidents, man. We put another
No.
little tree over it.
No, it really didn't. It is its own mesh, and that's a problem. Okay, guys, let's figure this out. Troubleshooting, live troubleshooting. Where is this all coming from? And I could bet it's from these two. And if that's the case, because we have already exported the textures, if that's the case, then let's just get rid of them. Let's see if this is a thing.
You've got separate bones for the structure, though. They're like...
No, that's the thing. It's not. So you have essentially two meshes, but only one set of bones. I said if we would have two set of bones, we could really use this, you know.
Right, you can't duplicate the bones, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe this is actually the thing that already worked. If it didn't, then, well, it didn't, and I need to do some more troubleshooting. So let's try this. Export. Now we can go with not selected because I deleted those two arm thingies. Locks, limits, morphs, props. We don't need any more figures. Embed textures, collect the textures. Also, if anyone has an idea where this is coming from, feel free, right? Like, I'm not an all-knowing guru or something. So let me know.
I don't know if this is totally dumb, but could it have happened when we were doing, like, changing the hair? Like, could it be like, no?
No, that's definitely unrelated, I would say, because that's happening in an entirely different part of the settings. I'm thinking, I mean, you know, weirder stuff has happened. Wait, who's saying something? Catherine? Was someone trying to say something? Okay, let's try this one more time.
So is it just one skeleton, one bone structure, or because I know sometimes you can break them down into like pelvis, left arm, right arm, you know, right leg, left leg. You know, when you expanded that tree, what was it?
Yeah, we had that before. We could go to select and select all and just make sure everything is selected. But I feel that wasn't a problem because, you know, everything came in. It's just too much came in.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And right now it's giving me an error. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the error it just gave me, it's not a real thing. It's a bug. So if you get that, just know it's a bug. Because there are no strange characters in this file name, right? Let's just go with version 2. And if it shows the same problem, you will see it's not us, it's the software. Would you agree, Deep Thought? Sometimes it's not us, it's the software.
I always agree with you. But yeah, no, you're right.
Cool. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so that exported. So it's a little bit, if you run into troubles, and it doesn't matter what kind of troubles, it's a little bit like finding out what's wrong with you if you're sick. And the way doctors do it is the way we do it. We just go through different options to figure out what is not wrong, you know? So our first approach here is determining if the file name is really a problem. And obviously it's not, because we completely changed the file name. It's giving us the same error. So two things we can do now is try this again by, you know, closing the software, open it again. And also this is a slight warning about avatar creation. It's, I would say, the one process you run into the most errors. It's a street full of bugs and errors. So just a slight warning from someone who does this now all the time. It can drive you mad at times. Okay, so we give this import one more try. And if that's not working, we just do a workaround. Why not, you know? So again, version 2. Let's see, it's still giving us this error, so we're not going to go with it. So we're going to go instead with the workaround, okay? It's not great. I wanted to do it differently, but what can we do if it's not working? Oh, also the workaround will consist of us using, or actually exporting, this as an OBJ, not as an FBX. It's, like I said, it's not the ideal version.
Can you export the bones as well with an OBJ or only with FBX?
Only with the FBX.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the one thing we're kind of compromising on for now. But you know, this is
Oh,
just
boobies.
what? What? What did you say? Was this a recommendation?
I think he was referring to female pecs. If I
Okay. Okay, so centimeters should be fine. Actually, all the settings should be fine. We're just gonna accept for now. If something is not fine, I mean, we're gonna see it, obviously. And okay, let's try import obj. And if that is not working, which is the worst case, but it is a case, if that is not working, so you would say open avatar, scale, that's fine. That should be also fine. Usually, let's just get it in here. It seems like it's loading. Let's hope it comes in without looking weird. And 2 meshes. Yay, it came in. And now it should be 1 mesh only. Let's just, I mean, there are no X-ray joints, but also, yeah, it's 1 mesh. Okay, so that's the compromise we have to live with for now. But it's not a terrible one, I would say. It could be worse, because at least we got it in. It gave us 1 error. I'm pretty sure if I would restart my computer now and then open the software again, this bug would go away. Just saying, this is like 80% of the time, this is a thing. I have no idea why, but yeah, this is a thing. So the next thing I usually do is just taking, making the grid usually invisible and taking just a screenshot of the avatar. And something I would highly recommend in everything 3D is if you have a keypad that also has a number pad. I don't know if you guys know what the number pad is, but it's like if you have a keyboard and then there's on the right side this additional space with just the 9 numbers sorted and mathematical multiplier and stuff, these kind of signs. Sorry, sometimes I'm just lacking the vocabulary in English. And this will make your life so much easier. It doesn't matter if it's in Blender or if it's in Marvelous Designer or Clo, because by just using the numbers on the number pad, I can switch through all the different perspectives and actually get like a straight shot of them, right? So for us, who we want to design clothing specifically for this avatar, I'm pressing here number 2. I'm zooming a little bit out with my mouse. That is like really not doing what's supposed to do these days. And I'm taking just a screenshot of this and, just replacing this one. And we could take, a side view shot, obviously, right? So let's do that. and then even a back shot. So that would be, if I'm not mistaken, number 8 on the numpad. And then taking another screeny. And so this is back. So the next thing that I usually do, because we have all of these like kind of cool things in the mood board. So there's, for me, I mean, everyone is different, obviously. But for me, there are kind of 2 or 3. When I used to do, I mean, I used to do normal fashion, right? Like IRL fashion. And the one thing or the one process I appreciated the most, I would say, was draping on a half-sized Stockman doll. You can do that in Marvelous Designer. You can do that in Chloe. You can use the pins and all of that. And we also have some people here in the audience who use that technique. I'm not patient enough for that, I really have to say. And also I have a favor for, I would say, what do you call it? Hard surface modeling, right? So I really like to do these things. So all that said, I usually go with, oh, here are all our, oh, where did they go? Here. So those are like the graphics we want, right? So I'm dragging in the front side, and then we're just going to add the other ones to this Photoshop file. So yeah, all of that said, I really like the process of collaging in the digital space. So I just, kind of make myself like a work file here, essentially, that I can then use. And let's do the back thingy. Okay, we need some more space, obviously, for that. A little bit more space. Yeah, so I use something like this at least, and put together my own little work file, and then I start collaging on it. This is what I do. Obviously, this is a very personal choice. So you guys can do whatever you want. I just feel also when you're trying to co-create something, it's a nice way of doing it. So this is going to be our file, essentially. And I don't know, I had this weird idea to just, I will get rid of the shadows first, and I will do this obviously offline and not bore you guys with it. But I had this weird idea to just also put this in the Milanote board, and for those of you who want to download it and just do their own version of this avatar, I mean, I can also give you then the 3D file once I figured out the troubleshooting part. I thought it could be a nice idea, but this is actually very much up to Pedro and Anna if they think this is a great idea or not.
I love it. What do you think, Pedro? Yeah, I think you should go.
Pedro fell asleep during the session.
He's out there troubleshooting.
No.
And
I am here. I am here.
Sorry, I needed to make fun of this situation. I'm so sorry.
I am here. Actually, I'm creating a lot of content out of this, like recording and out of this, like out of your screen. It's amazing. I'm like really inspired right now, and I'm sure all of the attendees are inspired as well.
Great. Yeah, so I will figure out the troubleshooting behind the file, and I will upload that also to the Milanote board. I will upload this like screen. Then I will obviously do the recording for you guys, how I do my kind of collage design process. And you can either follow that or do your own version of it. Is that a good idea? Does it sound good or not?
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah?
And I know it's time, but we do have a couple of questions that we missed actually on the chat. Vanessa, back to the hair, she said, she fixed the mesh manually. Hey, you got the hair. I could not get the hair. I have to duplicate your settings because I could not get hair into MD.
Oh, wait.
And then
Now I see there is a separate chat. Okay, wait. Let me read this question. Oh, you could not get the hair into Marvelous Designer? Is that what you're saying? Do you, Anna, do you have a possibility to unmute Vanessa so she can actually speak?
so let me try.
Oh, you wonder why the eyes are white? They are not white. They are like they look kind of like a star constellation. Because last time we kind of decided that her mother is the Orion constellation. So I thought, giving her like galaxy kind of eyes made sense. Oh, I could not get the hair, but now it's working. Oh, great. Awesome. Okay. I think question solved. Cool. Yeah. And also, maybe one more time, right? You will, with avatar creation, it's worse than with anything else you can really do in 3D. You will run into a lot of bugs. So sometimes, if you've had enough, because I'm not the most patient person, like just step away. Just step away from your computer before you throw it out the window. And, and then try again. It's most of the time it's just not your fault. Even if you restart your computer or restart the software or just try to do a workaround like we just did, so we have a file in there that we can actually make the clothing on, because for that it doesn't really matter if it's an FBX or an OBJ, right? So yeah. Okay, right, that usually works. Slow, step away. Yeah, it's a thing, especially in avatar creation. This is the tagline of our sessions here. Step away. Avatar creation with Alana's friends. Step away. Okay. Did we miss anything else, Anna? Going what's the probably cameras. Oh yeah.
Do you usually do the poses with Death instead of Marvelous Designer? Is it the better way, or do you do it both? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I usually do it with DAS because first of all, I already have a bunch of poses that I could start from and, just change little details if I'm not very patient or if I don't want something super specific. But also I feel you have just more control over the posing itself in DAS. It's a little bit getting used to. And by the way, the other software I use, Character Creator, and an additional software that's purely for animation, it's like not all softwares again are the same. So you go into this other software and then like how to pose an avatar works entirely different, kind of makes your head spin a little bit. But yeah, you will get used to it. It's just annoying. Anything else? Just making sure here.
What are the next steps that we are going to cover next and the final episode to this Digital Alchemist series, Stella?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, and I'm going to record everything obviously during the next week, is doing my version of the clothing mock-up and translating that into a design in Marvelous Designer. Sorry, just blank for a second, blanked out. So that's something I'm going to record for you in case you've never done that. But I know a lot of you have actually experience in clothes, so it's not going to be too different from that. I think next session we should cover also how I make substance designer materials. I think that is very important for you guys to learn. Substance Designer is a great software, but I know that to many of you, it can be intimidating, and I kind of want to take that away by showing you, how to just make a very basic texture. We're not going to make something super complicated, but we're going to make a basic texture. And then we're going to move on to Blender. We will learn how to use the Blender bridge from DAOs to Blender. We're going to use an add-on to import Substance Designer materials if it's not bugging out on us, because that is also a thing. But even if it's bugging out, there is an alternative way to do it. So we're going to learn maybe the workaround if that one is not working. Then we're going to just make a basic setup with a camera. And I will show you the render settings that I usually use that work super fine for social media, but can also be upscaled. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, great. Great that you want to learn this, and also great that you guys are having fun with this. This is, I think, what Pedro and Anna intended when they invited me. That's good to hear.
So we invite everyone to create their own character, their own virtual persona, and please submit your creations, submit your questions here on the Arcadia channel on the Fabricant's Discord, so Anna, Tarian, and I can reply somehow, and also to let Stella know how you are working on your avatar. If you have any question, if you want to share your avatar and to bring it to the virtual world with Alana. That's the main goal to this conversation as well, to create Alana's friend. So
yeah.
It would be fun if we put all of the avatars in the same space somehow. And yeah, I mean, that would be fun.
That is very much true. Yeah. What?
Yeah, so we'll tighten everything up and put all the information in one space so that you guys can access it more easily and check out the Milanote, maybe even create your own story for your own avatar. Anything goes, whatever feels good. Yeah, and I just wanted to tell you guys that part 3 is on the 30th. And next week, we're going to be having some events. And then the following week for NFT NYC, or next week is the NFT NYC. The 20th, we're going to have a crypto purse drop how-to and a chat about women in Web3. So check out our events and join us. And we want to hear from you. And if you guys have any questions right now, please feel free.
Yeah, and also if any one of you are around in New York, I'm actually here. I'm going to be around at NFT NYC. I'm going to also have an event with the Fashion DAO, in case you've heard of that. That's the thing. I'm also gonna do an event with Alana and Jevels together. So you might want to join that. Pedro's creations are also going to be there. That's going to be very nice. Yeah. Just looking forward to maybe even meeting some of you in real life. So let me know. You can also DM me. It's a thing. You can also DM me.
Stella, could you please share some more information about this on our Arcadia channel, please? Or on our new
Yeah.
NFT NYC channel, so people can go and attend your physical space in New York City next week.
Sounds good. I can do that. And then maybe see you in IRL.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stella, and thank you, Anna. Is there any questions before we wrap up?
If I can steal 2 seconds,
Of course.
decides that they really like doing this, I have a project coming up here shortly that I'm going to need this kind of work done. And if you really enjoy it and you like doing it, talk to me. I'll give you some details and see what you think.
Okay, cool. You heard Vlad.
And I don't know if everyone knows, but Vlad is the meta father of our avatar. That was decided by.
I told you I want a paternity test.
That's true, and the meta modder is all of us.
Well,
Because
So-
I ain't touched none of you.
how does it always end
I
up?
believe there's something that has to happen and it ain't happened. So I want a test.
Oh no.
We too.
Please don't do this to the cool avatar right now. Let's save her dignity. Okay, great. I also put my my complete handle in Discord in the chat, so if any of you want to DM me and I can't otherwise, this is the way to go.
Yeah, and if you want to also put that in the Arcadia event, because the chat will disappear.
Oh, it's gonna disappear. Okay, that is good to know.
I believe so.
Okay.
The Arcadia event is going to disappear in Fabricant.
No, the chat of this space, not the Arcadia event.
Yeah, I didn't know that too. There was a separate
Okay,
chat.
okay. Thank you.
No, of course not. It will never disappear. I mean, this is just the beginning. The thing is that if you want to open this like new chat, this Galaxy Stage chat, the only thing that you have to go is to come and click on the Galaxy Stage button here on the left side on Discord, and then on the right side you will find this chat box in which you can find all of the messages that have happened today, and yeah, they will never go away. And of course these conversations are just like starting, and of course to remind you all that you can rewatch this and episode one on the Fabricant's YouTube channel. So if you want to recreate and create, or to start creating your own virtual persona and your digital identities thanks to Stella's guidance, well, just go and rewatch. And yeah, thank you so much, Stella, for this amazing
Thank you,
episode
guys.
on this Digital Alchemist series. Thank you, Anatarian, for co-hosting this. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. This is Pedro Gues, community manager at the Fabricant, and see you next week. Yeah, see you in the metaverse, everyone.
See you, Pedro.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Stella. Bye bye. Nos vemos. Adios.